Parents could be inflicting emotional harm on their kids and not even know it. Psychological maltreatment of kids is the focus of a new report from the American Academy of Pediatrics. It says emotional abuse is linked with mental illness, aggression, trouble in school, and with relationships. It can be especially harmful in the first 3 years of life, and it may be the most common form of child maltreatment. 9% of women and 4% of men in the U.S. and the U.K. reported severe psychological abuse. Joining us now is Dr. Greg Jantz, and he wrote a book on this topic called Healing the Scars of Emotional Abuse. Always great to see you.
Oh, thank you, Matt. This is a really important topic.
And you have studied it closely. How common is it?
Very common. What we know is many folks, sexual abuse is 1 out of 3 girls, 1 out of 7 boys, but most people can relate to some form of emotional abuse. Look at it on the continuum. Less severe to severe, and it does have a significant impact. It creates bruises and scars that we really can't see.
Here's you hit on it. The difficult thing with emotional abuse is even experts have a hard time saying when it travels from less than ideal parenting into actual abuse. So how can you tell?
Well, here's what can happen. I just had a gal in my office. She says, my father told me I was a chubby little toddler and I was always going to be chubby. That put an imprint on her, and today at age 32, she's still suffering from body image. Now, was that intentional emotional abuse? Probably not. So there's intentional emotional abuse, and then there's unintentional. Sometimes we make mistakes. I was told by a 6th grade teacher that I would never be good at math. I was terrified of going to college, trying to figure out math. So that imprinted in me that I was no good, until finally a tutor one day said, Greg, you don't need me. This is in college. You're okay with math.
It sticks with you forever.
So the imprints, what we're talking about.
Okay.
Now, name calling, there's subtle forms of abuse, there's things that are obvious. What we look for, Matt, is a pattern over time. I may make a mistake and say, you're stupid and that was a bad mistake and I need to correct it. But if I keep doing that to you over and over and over, then that crosses the line of abuse.
And the age makes a big difference. So let me throw out some scenarios, and you can tell me if it is abuse or not.
Okay.
A parent tells a 7-year-old that wearing their hair a certain way makes them look stupid. Is that abuse?
Well, it's also how you say it in the context you say it. Yeah, you can laugh. I have a little boy that made his hair look really funny, and I said, that is the craziest thing I've seen, and it was funny. But if I say words to him like, that is stupid, nobody's going to like you, and you look ridiculous, and I start saying these things with a harsh tone that's imprinting on them that there's something wrong with me. You see, emotional abuse creates these scars that makes me feel like I'm defective. It causes shame and guilt and goes, well, something must be wrong with me.
What about telling, let's say, a 3-year-old? Because I know it has a huge impact on really young children, that they're bad. And we all lose our frustration when kids are misbehaving. But that if they continue to act like that when they grow up, they could be a bad person.
Yes.
Is that abuse?
It can be. And again, I'm looking for a pattern over time. It's the mom in the grocery store and the boy's throwing cans off the shelf, and she says, you're a bad boy. Well, does she say that every day to him? I think there's a better way of saying it. We don't want to use words that are judgmental, that affect our character.
So how do you control yourself as a parent? Because if they are acting out, and they've been acting out all day, we all fall into that trap that, why are you acting like this? I don't want to get mad at you, but when you act like this, I get mad at you, and then it's easy to cross the line.
Oh, it is easy to cross the line. And I'm a parent, and I know I've made mistakes. And I've had to go to my kids and say, you know what, I really goofed. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Here's what we need to be aware of. If you grew up in a home where there was a lot of emotional abuse, name calling, and sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's just that look that says, that look.
Right.
And it's a threat. So emotional abuse usually has a threat. Can cross the line and cause physical abuse, potentially. So what you want to do is be aware of your words. And I always work on, I'm going to praise first, and if there needs to be correction, but I'm going to have to practice this, because it's really easy in anger to say things we're going to regret.
We have about 10 seconds left. What if you spot abuse and you know what's going on, but it's difficult to have these conversations with another parent, another adult? What are you supposed to do?
Oh, I say to them, you know what? It sounds like you're really frustrated. Would you like some new ideas about how to handle this situation? I'd love to talk to you.
Offer advice, offer support.
Yes, but acknowledge the frustration and say, you know what? There's some better ways we can work on this together.
Right. Great information. Dr. Greg Jantz, always good seeing you.
Good.